Good evening and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for SDN Races CF5 Tier 1, Round 14. This is the last race of the season, and what a place to do it around here in Brazil, of course, located in the vibrant city of Sao Paulo. The Autodromo Jose Carlos race, known as the Interlagos, stands as one of Formula 1's most historical and beloved circuits. Since its debut on the F1 calendar, the Brazilian Grand Prix has delivered unforgettable moments thanks to the track's layout, rapid elevation changes, and the ever-changing weather conditions that test the drivers for such a long time. Since 1973, as we've seen a lot of passion and rich motorsport legacy around the circuit as well, which holds the memory of, has a special place in the memory for many people before in its past history. And thankfully we are back at it as well, because it's always provides some good action, whether it is dry, whether it is wet. It always spices up and cooks up a decent race as well, like we saw last year with Max Verstappen. 17th to 1st is what I need to say. No matter if it was in the dry or wet conditions, that was Max Verstappen, one of the best drivers I've ever seen so far. We know Verstappen is very capable of going from the back of the grid to make his way towards the podium. He's done it many times, especially during the course of 2017, 18, 19, 20, of course, when the Renault engine, sometimes Honda engine, broke down on him in qualifying and made his way through as well, through the field. I remember USA in 2018 when he started towards back in the field, made his way towards second place, beating Lewis Hamilton on the track as well. And China 17th to 4th, I think, as well, on that occasion as well. He's very good for Verstappen, making his way through the field. But Brazil 2024 will be one of his best victories, no doubt for sure. It completely overshadows Brazil 2016 when Max Verstappen went on to he was challenging both Mercedes and overtook Nico Rosberg around the outside in towards turn 2, catching Hamilton, but had a bit of a scare in towards the final few corners where, of course, he spun the car and just narrowly missed the barriers as well and saved it to finish P3 in tricky conditions in his rookie year in Red Bull, it must be said, because obviously he started in 2015. But Ruben is currently on a flying lap, the man that won, of course, around the Chinese Grand Prix, as the Red Bull driver now progresses up towards Ferradura, where we saw Charles Leclerc crash, I think, on the formation lap. We saw that massive crash back in 2009, I think, with Joanna Trulli, Fernando Alonso and Adrian Sutil, where they collided, I think, at turn 4. But obviously Trulli went sideways in towards Fernando Alonso, which took out the Renault driver that day as well. As we see Ruben then downhill towards McJulio, and another fantastic corner as well, as we saw both Renaults in 2018 go side by side, Hulkenberg and Carlos Sainz back then. As we exit the final few corners, we go George Saab in the proper corner, and of course we saw that historical moment back in 2008 where Felipe Massa won the race, but unfortunately did not win the championship. As Ruben is the pace hitter, it is a 7.548, as that's the rest of the speed. But of course, this is Q1, so being around here, you've just got to make sure you make it through the top 15, because the bottom 3 will get eliminated. Here comes Misha towards the line. He goes up into P3, of course, on the medium compound tyres. But if you know you've got the pace to go through on the medium compound tyres, then maybe save a set, because that could come in handy for the race or qualifying, depending if you want to save a set of during the race or qualifying then. So this is all about getting yourself through to the top 15. And Ivan goes up into P2, and he's only 1,000th of a second slower than Ruben, so that is marginally close between all these guys here around this short circuit indeed. Got a lot of elevation changes, and of course located in Brazil, so of course the track can be quite hot sometimes as well with the elevation changes and the high intensity as well around the circuit. But it always produces some fantastic race. I've always liked the circuit. Jaime, Spanish Grand Prix race winner, goes up into P4. Finally, he picks up his first win of the season, because he was second best most of the time to Ysbrand. I'm surprised Jaime is not really third up in the championship. Yes, he's P4, but Eric is P3 in the championship. This man has done a mega job too. He has won a Grand Prix back at the Monza Grand Prix. What is the GOAT Sheepy Gamer? I have no idea, mate, unfortunately. I don't know where Sheepy Gamer is. Luckily, I can speak a little bit of Dutch, so I know what you're talking about. Fireblaze goes up to P5, of course, the man looking to win the championship around here, but they're also stacked against him, because we know that Ysbrand has it in hand, as Jaime has retired, knowing he's safe. F1 shorts across the line, he goes up into P7 on intermediates, of course, so we expect him to change over very, very soon indeed. Eric in P12 starting his lap on the mini-comp power tyres then as he goes through turn 2 and turn 3, which can be very difficult. The famous centre S's where he can go side by side through the complexity of those corners. Now we head onto the short straight, heading down towards turn 4. Well, this league is predominantly Dutches, so I don't really want to say what I want to say at turn 4 back in 2021 between Verstappen and Hamilton, but I'm going to say it anyway. You guys can give me controversy, but I don't care because it's true. Verstappen did push Hamilton off the track. Did Verstappen get a penalty? I can't remember, but I think turn 4 Verstappen was a bit too eager and optimistic to keep Hamilton behind. But Hamilton also a comeback drive from last in the grid up to first. He got disqualified in qualifying due to infringement with the rear wing, I think, with the DRS. As Eric then enters the middle sector, it's a 51.4 for the Aston Martin as he now makes his way uphill towards Juan Sao. Let's see what lap time Eric is set in the Aston Martin, who has looked very good himself in the championship, it must be said. He has been looking very, very strong so far this season as he makes his way towards the line. He goes first with a 7.4, so he goes quickest on a set of the mini-comp power tyres, and that shows the pace that Eric has got around here as well. So championship standings will be read to you very shortly if I can find them, because I've got a lot of information for tonight's race as well. Obviously I want to make it a good race for tonight as Mike in the other Ferrari goes up into P4. What have Ferrari got to do? What's Fireblaze got to do to win the championship? Easy answer, finish first, but the difficulty is you got really strong, handy competitors around you that are willing to take the crown. They've got nothing to lose. They just want to go for the race win or the podium. But he's got a lot of work to do on his hands tonight. Fireblaze needs to win plus the fastest lap if he wants any chance of winning the championship against Ysbrand. He's 25 points away in the championship. Ysbrand won 189. Fireblaze is second with 164, and Eric is P3 with 147. P3 is still up for grabs between Khatikas and Eric. Those two are still fighting for third in the championship, so watch out for those two. Those two are very quick indeed and have had some wins and podiums this season. Both of them combined. They're really strong drivers when they need to be. Kevin Zumberg, of course, the man that took the victory back at the Las Vegas Grand Prix, did an outstanding job back in Vegas, and his teammates finished on the podium next to him. It was Ivan. Ivan picked up his first ever podium this season, and it's been a long time coming because he's been super close but dropped away ever so slightly. Kevin has invalidated on his flying lap, so he can't complete it and set his first lap. But Ysbrand says, I can't race. Oh, that's a shame, Ysbrand. If you do win the championship this race, Ysbrand, how am I supposed to pronounce it? Because it'd be so awkward when I say Ysbrand wins the championship, but you're not there. Well, can you win the championship by not turning up to the Grand Prix? I think you can. I think you have. Ruben says he is winning this race, so let's see if Ruben does take the crown or not. He has won back at the Chinese Grand Prix. He is a very capable driver, Ruben. Never discount him out. He's very, very quick indeed. 19 drivers are in this session, and so almost a full grid. We just need one more driver to make it a full house here tonight. And that'll conclude the Brazilian Grand Prix with a full attendance in house, which should be a fantastic one indeed. It was a McLaren 1-2. Kevin and Ivan first and second, with Mike in third place back at the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Mike as well doing a really good job. I have a 7.6 online PB, but was 2 months ago for PSGL. Well, Ruben, failed success. I wish you the best, mate, and see what you do tonight. As Duct Tape is in the chat, Huchatet, my fellow Dutchman, as we'll see what he does tonight. Kevin Zumberg goes quickest now with a 7.140, and that is a mega lap time. Ruben says he'll probably choke and do a 0.9. Well, if you can keep your nerves together, then you can definitely do it indeed. But let's see then what he has to offer tonight. Both Williams drivers, Lucas and Kick. I must say it has been a little bit of a disappointment this season because high expectations as they finish second and third in the championship, picking up multiple race wins. So it has been a bit difficult for both of them, it must be said. Mummy Nick goes up into P3 in the kick Saber. However, Mummy Nick scored a top 7 back at the Las Vegas Grand Prix, so hats off to him. What a fantastic job he did to get himself inside the top 7, because him and his teammates have been absolutely struggling this season, struggling to get himself into Q2. Same with F1 Short, not F1 Shorts, TVH NL. He's also one of those drivers where he does struggle, but he's very consistent and he's very good at picking up top 10 as well. As Ysbrand says, what has Ysbrand said? I did a 6.6 in one of my best tracks this. Yeah, I love this track as Lucas's teammate Kit goes quickest with a 7.359. as Lucas exits the final corner. He won the Australian Grand Prix for the first race of the season, but never seemed to pick his form up after that. He did win at the sprint race, I think, in Austria, but never took the victory in the feature. Here he is towards the line. He goes. He's up into P6, and not much separates him first out of sixth. Only 2/10 of a second then, but the main aim is to get yourself into Q2. Ysbrand, do you have a internship? As Matisse goes quickest, it's a 7.1 for Matisse. And Alpine were looking very strong towards the early start of the season, but both of them, Matisse and Zach, unfortunately, just couldn't make it 4 races, because if they did, if Matisse and Zach turned up, then I think we had a mighty battle against Ysbrand and Fireblaze, etc. So it's a shame that those two couldn't really turn up, but it is what it is. And hopefully Matisse has a good race tonight, does the Dutch driver then. So good stuff indeed. It's him on provisional pole with a 7.1. For Q1, it's not too bad, because obviously at the start of the qualifying session, the track is not evolved. It's still green and rubber needs to be laid down to go quicker. So it still needs a little bit more rubber. Track evolution, of course, will kick in. It is not really clear conditions, a bit cloudy out there too, so which could still affect the track temperature, not at his peak performance. Adam down in 90th place in the Haas. I think this is his first appearance this season, so let's see how he does then, as the Haas of Kevin Magnussen, or Kevin Zungberg retired, sorry, but Kevin Magnussen top pole, didn't he, in the sprint race, or sprint qualifying, I must say, as Russell bottled it on a turn 4, Magnussen top pole for him, and his Haas's first ever pole ever, while Schumacher started in last place. Here comes Adam towards the line. He goes up into P7, just ahead of Lucas by a few hundredths of a second there, as Lucas is in the pit lane. So who is on the brink of danger? That's the question. So our usual suspects, which I hate to say, Mummy Nick, not F1 Shorts. I expected more from F1 Shorts, but of course he's still on that mini compound tyre. But saying that though, other people out there circulating on the mini compound tyres. Look at Kevin, for example. Kevin set his best lap time on the set of the mini compound tyres. Same with Eric as well. They're super competitive lap times if you take into account what Kick and Matthias has done, because I've noticed that some guys this season have really excelled and delivered us some fantastic pace on the mini compound tyres. So it's something about that as well, where the mini compound tyre, I used to like it as a qualified tyre. Sometimes when we had that Q2 rule a few seasons ago, where you had to qualify the mini compound tyres if you want to start them. But here comes Misha towards the line with the DRS wide open. But let's see if the Alpine can try and catapult him up himself in the order. He can. He puts himself into P4, just behind Kevin there by a few hundredths of a second. Only 1,000 quicker than Eric in P5. So these lap times are super competitive and super close. Now, TVHNL, he's one of the suspects where he does struggle to get himself inside the top 10. But he does deliver some fantastic results. I think P4 or P6 was his best result back at the Hungarian Grand Prix. He has delivered some fantastic results in the past. So watch out for him. He can be a competitor. He never gives up. He's a really good driver as well, very consistent, and that's what Mercedes needs. But on the other hand, sitting next to him in the garage, F1 Shorts is currently in the danger zone, and with about 4 minutes and 40 seconds left to go on the clock, he needs to get himself out there, which he is right now. And let's see what lap time he could set. I expect him to get himself inside of the top 10. It should be easy for him, but you never know with the track evolution, with the tyres being so close, you just don't know. And also F1 Shorts himself, because maybe he could be one of those drivers where he puts himself under too much pressure, therefore makes mistakes as well. So he does have the pace, but you got to keep it nice and tidy around this short track. Only 71 seconds it takes to get around this track as well. So let's see if he got it in him to do it or not. So Heitenkass has retired, but he's in P12. That intrigues me. Same with Robert Jacobs and Mike. So those guys are in real danger of being eliminated, because we've still got F1 Shorts, we've got Ty C, we've got Raymond, we've got Mummy Nick, we've got Reiki Yu and Fireblaze himself, who are making their way out of the circuit and trying to get themselves into Q2. So watch out for those guys. It could be a massive upset for the man that won at the Spanish Grand Prix, Heitenkass. We're looking over his shoulder to see if the guys behind involve or not. But let's see. F1 Shorts first. He's the first one out of the circuit as he now makes his way towards the Red Bull straight. DRS wide open as we head down towards turn 4. Look at that. 3/10 up the first sector already as he flicks it in into 5th gear, carrying the speed, using the curb on the outside for support as well as he leans on it as we head towards Ferradura. One of my favourite corners on this race circuit, because it goes uphill, steep climb, time as we now head towards the technical part of the track where it all slows down. You can make sure you pick up the throttle at the right time because it's so easy to get on the throttle too early and therefore encounter that wheel spin, which you don't need whatsoever. And plus, the tyres will be hot at that stage as well. It's going to keep it nice and tidy in that middle part of the lap. And now we're coming towards the high-speed stuff, heading towards John's side we go, 7/10 up. So this should ensure F1 Short's safety, and hopefully he can relegate himself up the order to a more secure and safer position indeed. So here he is then as he powers that Mercedes towards the line. F1 Shorts is 4th place, and that should seal the deal to get himself into Q2. Ysbrand, however, has invalidated, but is he in danger? No, because the guys behind him have retired. Fireblaze is 3/10 up in that middle sector, so he's needing the time to get himself further along the field to get himself into Q2. He should do as he crosses the line now. P11 only, so that is a bit concerning for Fireblaze. Mike is down there in P12. Ramon is coming in the flying lap in the Racing Bull. Of course, Racing Bull, known as Toro Rosso or AlphaTauri, took a podium, didn't they, back in 2019? And what a race 2019 delivered us. I think it all kicked off due to the safety car with Valtteri Bottas, because Bottas' engine blew up being stuck behind Charles Leclerc, and it all caused safety car. I think there were multiple safety cars on that day, but I can't exactly remember what they were for. But 2019 was a fantastic race because it was Verstappen versus Hamilton. Verstappen overtook Hamilton after he pitted onto a better set of soft compound tyres after being stuck behind Robert Kubica after he came up the pit lane for his mandatory pit stop. But Ramon headed downhill as he's 2.8 seconds up. It's the same year that Pierre Gasly got demoted down to Toro Rosso. Yes, it is. So it's the same year that he got demoted down to Toro Rosso, as we now see Ramon open the DRS flap, and let's see what lap time he can set in the RB as he crosses the line. Can he get himself inside the top 10 or 15? He can, but not enough. Here comes Ricky Yu. He's down the first sector, but Taisi, TVHNL, Mum and Nick are currently out there threatening the safety of Ramon. Who's going to be on the other side of the fence? Is it going to be TVHNL, Mum and Nick, or Taisi? Because Ramon is pretty much in danger, and there's not a lot of time left either. There's 40 seconds left to go in the session. TVHNL is a 10th up in the first sector, so great improvement from the Mercedes driver. Looking for a time, of course, to get himself inside the top 15, pushing Ramon out. Hayden Cass is looking very, very weak right now, must be said. His 40th place is in life danger, must be said. There, so he'll be looking over his shoulders, praying that nobody improves. He did set one lap on a set of soft compound tyres, but did he anticipate that other people behind would not improve? Well, anxiety's been enough for Hayden Cass in 40th place. Goat Cheese, his teammates out there, but not on a flying lap. His teammate behind him, but the rest of the competition is what he's looking for. So 8 seconds left to go in this session. TVHNL with the DRS wide open. Can he get himself inside the top 15? We're about to find out right now. Can he do it? He can, only just so, by a few hundreds. Here comes the Sauber. The Sauber stays in 18th place. And what about Taisi? Taisi is 2 and a bit tenths up in this sector. Can he get himself inside the top 15? Can he displace TVHNL as he crosses the line right now? No, he can't. He beats his teammate though. And Ricky Yu is the last driver. Now, expecting more from Ricky Yu, but seems to be struggling around here in Brazil. He's currently 2 tenths up. This 2 tenths can knock out TVHNL. So, is it TVHNL? Is it Ricky Yu? The battle 50 place is between these two, as the DRS is wide open for the Aston Martin driver. Here he is as he heads towards the line. It's going to be P12, and he knocks out TVHNL. And for the final time in this season, Milan Langer is alongside me. How are you doing, Goat?
I am doing good, thank you very much. Well, that's Q1 for you, but I'm glad to be here for the season finale, and it's going to be great. Unfortunately, with Ysbrand not driving today, but it's just going to make it interesting because Fireblaze will have to score 26 points. So it's going to be difficult, but good to be alongside you again, and let's make it a good one.
Indeed, so Q1 has just ended. We're not interested who's first, but interested who's knocked out. So, it's his TVHNL, just though, by 500ths of a second. Ramon, Taisi, and Mummy Nick both kick Sauber start at the back of the field, and we know that both of them have trouble getting themselves inside the top 10 or 15, but he did finish, I think, into the top 10 at the Las Vegas Grand Prix, which unfortunately I couldn't attend, but Milan Langer took over for me. Milan, it is a Brazilian Grand Prix, an iconic circuit which has displayed some fantastic races over its past history. with high-speed corners, elevation changes, the mixture of weather, and the battles as well. Are you looking forward to this one?
I certainly am. It's always great action in real life, and on this game as well. It has become one of my better tracks on this game. Well, it used to be quite the opposite, but I really enjoyed driving this track and nowadays, so I can expect some great action tonight, and always a great end to a season. Shame it's not anymore nowadays, but Brazil used to be a great season finale.
Oh yeah, definitely was indeed. The last time we had the Brazilian Grand Prix as the last race of the season, I'm trying to think, was it 2016 with... No, it wasn't. It was 2014? No. I'm going to think
13.
way further back because Abu Dhabi, yeah. 2013 with Sebastian Vettel took his 13th win of the season. Mark Webber taking his helmet off and celebrated in style his retirement. But Mark Webber has also got a formidable force as well. He's also collected some really good talent in the name of Oscar Piastri. Oscar Piastri has dodged a bullet, literally, because Alpine are under scrutiny once again. And yeah, it's just Alpine being Alpine, really. But talk about Alpines, the first one out there is the Alpine of Matthias then. Matthias, of course, who was, I think, finished second behind his teammate of Zach back in the Miami Grand Prix. When Alpine were fighting with Williams in the first race of the season, then it was a Alpine 1-2 back in Miami. Octavia has left the session, but he'll come back hopefully. But on board with the Alpine driver of Matthias then as he makes his way down in towards turn 1. Let's see how he takes it down to the gears as we head down towards turn. It can be a bit tricky turn 1, turn 2 and turn 3 because you've got to get turn 1 absolutely spot on. Sometimes turn 1 can throw the car off balance, taking the tightest line through turn 3 with the DRS wide open as we now head down towards turn 4. It's a 17.3, a relatively decent first sector. Headed down to the gears once again, missed the apex towards turn 4 but leans on the curve on the outside, gets a good exit nevertheless as we now head towards Ferrador we go. Let's see if he lifts off. I think he lifted off slightly. Some people do go flat out with Ferrador, depends if you have the tire grip, the setup and the confidence. And now coming towards the middle sector, of course, these slow speed corners, you can be very patient on the throttle. Just need to make sure you put the throttle without losing traction there. Don't get too greedy in the throttle there, as you want to treat it like there's an egg underneath your throttle pedal, as Martin Budd would say. As we headed downhill towards Magulio, it's a 51.2 in the middle sector as he rides the curves. Not many people these days ride the curve, but I think, well, some people like to do it, but some people don't because it all depends how you take it. So it all depends if your car, the setup of the car is well endured and well in tuned for this track. Here comes Matthias towards the line. Not a bad lap time, it's a 7.3, but we don't know the tyre compounds. Just obviously we do, but we don't know about if people on a new set of soft compound tyres or a used set, as people like to save it. So it's now P12, not anymore, because Kevin Zumberg has gone quicker with a 7.319.
And right behind comes Robert with Fireblaze in his slipstream, and Robert is going to go fastest, 7.2, and Fireblaze slots in right behind him. Look at the top 4. 1/10 separating them. It's and make that top 5 as Lucas gets just ahead of Matthias by a hundredth of a second. It's incredibly close around there, and Robert with the fastest time. And Fireblaze, he did get a lovely slipstream throughout the lap as he was right behind Robert. So seems like Robert seems to be helping out Fireblaze, of course, teammates in another league. So to be expected. But Fireblaze at the moment on the front row, but probably he needs to get pole position because that will give him an extra point, I think. Not too sure, but it will certainly give him more chances of winning tonight because he will need to win as Erik goes fastest, and not by a little bit, actually by almost 0.2 of a second. Early in the lap there, 17.077 to put the Aston Martin at the front of the field. And then we look at Misha, who sees back into the pit lane. He's down in P9. A few drivers left to make set their lap time. Mike is one of them, and he is getting a lovely slipstream from his teammate as well. Down the back straight, which is hardly a straight at all, but it is flat out as the Ferrari is going to go to the line for 107.578. It's only a few tenths of pole position, but he's down in P10. That's just how incredibly close it is in this qualifying session.
Oh yeah, indeed. From first down to 7th, or maybe a bit later on, because we're not first but second in the midfield. There is a few guys in the 0.3s. That is so tight as well, and it also can make you break your qualifying, because if you up or down by a few hundreds of seconds, look at this, Van and Williams are fighting there as we see Van go up as a P8, but I think Kick quite sure what he was up to on his flying lap. He did set a 30.0 as he crossed the line, but I'm not quite sure if a van impeded him or impeded each other. But anyways, Kick is going for a flying lap. As we see, the Williams then open his DRS. Of course, last season it was Williams versus Ferrari, but I think this is the case still, because it is super tight in the championship as well between the Ferrari and the Williams, like it was last season. But I think Ferrari came out on top last season, and they're doing it once again. But unfortunately, the championship leader is not a Ferrari driver or Williams driver. It is a Haas driver of Ysbrand. And Ysbrand will be looking in interest watching this race as well, seeing how it all plans out, hoping Fireblaze does not win or take the fast of the Grand Prix. What does Fireblaze need to do to win the championship, basically?
He needs to win and pick up an extra point due to probably the fastest lap of the race, because he's 25 points behind Ysbrand, and I'm pretty sure Ysbrand has won more races regardless if Fireblaze wins tonight. So I think that will win on camping, meaning that Fireblaze needs to score at least 26 points tonight, so at least to win. And another point, as Kick crosses the line, he goes into P10 only for a man who has been on pole position more than once this season. His first lap time, he is good enough to P10, and at the brink of being knocked out. It's only 14,000 for seconds behind to Misha, and a few hundreds as well to Mike. And Geitegas is down there as well in P13. He's just struggling in this qualifying session, and at least only Ruben without a lap time, but he has started one just now. 17.4 is not the quickest we've seen through sector 1. We have seen the 17.2 and a few 17.3, so it's already losing a tenth of a second through the first part of the lap. But he might be saving up a little bit of ERS through the back of the end of the lap as he slides his way out of turn 6, and a big moment, and that is going to ruin his lap time, and he has backed off.
Indeed, there's a massive oversteer at turn 6 and turn 7 for Feridora. He said that he was going to win the Grand Prix, but he will be doing that if he keeps continuing putting progress like that. But he is down to P15, the only one without a lap time. From first down to 12th is separated by half a second, as Kevin Zonberg has gone for the soft powered tyres. So does he feel like that the medium powered tyres won't see him secured? Unfortunately, Kevin has invalidated on his flying lap. Now, do you remember in the last qualifying sessions where Kevin did supreme on the medium powered tyres, but when it came to the softs, he struggled. Now, I don't know if Kevin is really good at setting lap times with medium powered tyres, whether he likes the tyre better than the soft powered tyres, because he feels like the mediums give him more grip, but the softs give like an extra tenth or two in comparison to Kevin's own lap times as well. Not in general, it's about 5-6 tenths, maybe around that area, but Kevin seems to do really well. It's not the first time I've seen a driver do superb on the sets on medium powered tyres. Then when they convert over to the soft powered tyres, they struggle. What is the case for that?
Sorry, come again. I wasn't really listening, but
wow, you weren't listening to me. But yes, so
I was too focused.
What I was saying was, how come, like, for example, Kevin and other people too, it's not just him, it's other people, they do super well on a set of medium powered tyres, but when they switch over to the softs, they tend to struggle. What is it between the softs and mediums that they struggle? Because the soft powered tyre is a qualified tyre, but for some reason, some people just don't gel well with it.
Yeah, they seem to be very strong on the mediums, and like you said, the difference between the mediums and the softs seems to be too large for those drivers. So maybe they can just find the speed immediately on the mediums, while they usually take a little bit longer to heat up. So might find some crazy strategy of heating up the tires, but it certainly is interesting to see some drivers be able to pull that off, setting near identical lap times on mediums and softs. I'm not quite sure what the exact cause of that is, but it does show the caliber of some of these drivers have, being able to perform at such level on different tire compounds. As Kevin, like you said, has invalidated. He will be coming back into the pit lane. Lucas has backed off as well as Matisse has just started a lap, and he's down in P6, but if he improves by, well, he doesn't even need to improve by 0.3 of a second, he would be on pole position, but 0.3 of a second is easier said than done. As he makes his way out of sector 1, he's already up by 1/10, so if he gets 1/10 in every sector, it would be good enough. But of course, it is quite a difficult track to get by. There's F1 shorts, crosses the line, and he goes up at the P3, brilliant lap time from him to put his Mercedes on the second row, as one race before this season at Spa, and currently in a very handy P3 position, which has dropped at least down to P7. Let's see if he finds another improvement as the other half of Adam goes into P3. It's getting even closer now. Here as Matisse is a bit of a big improvement, but a big moment on the exit. He spins around. He was up by over 0.3 of a second, which would have been enough to put him at the front of the field. But with that moment, he has spun around. His lap time is ruined. He's down in P8 and the pressure is on with 5 minutes to go.
Oh, what a shame there. Spinning at the final corner, the proper final corner for Matthias. But he's got the pace. He was 3 tenths up. Those 3 tenths could have put him on provisional pole. Now the pressure is on because he may have to use another set of the soft powered tyres then. So maybe another set sacrificed, and Q3 may only have one set only. So qualifying has been compromised there for Matthias. So Hatikas is down at P15, and he was around 14th place in Q1. His final results was 14th. So I don't think the Dutchman in 15th place is liking this track at all. So he is struggling around here, down to 15th for the time being, but with 4 minutes left to go on the clock with a few more laps to come. Can Hatikas try and get himself inside the top 10? Yes, it took me about 12 races to finally say his name right, but we got there in the end, and I can finally say his name right, and every single person's name as well in this session. So during that moment when Matthias spun, AMS Adam, who went up to P3 ahead of F1 Shorts, and that was a fantastic lap time. Adam is not a hard word to say. It's a British name, really, so I'm not quite sure why I struggled with that one. But yeah, Adam, P3, has retired in the garage knowing he is safe. I think both Hasses are safe. Eric is definitely safe as well with that blister in that time. Kevin and Lucas are both out there, and only 1/100th of a separate. Sorry, only 1/100th of a tenth. As Misha goes quickest, who goes with a 6.9. What a fantastic lap time there from the RP drive. I wasn't expecting that. But here comes Kevin then, as the DRS is wide open. But I pronounced it right. So is your name Adam, not Adam, or Adam? Because I've got like loads of friends called Adam. Every single person I know is called Adam, not Adam or Adam. But here comes Kevin Zomberg, as now he opens the DRS flap once again. Currently in P7, his best lap time is on the mini-comp power tyres there. 1 tenth up already in the first sector. Yes, I know your name is Adam, but how do you pronounce it? As we now come towards turn 4, turn 5. Oh, it's backed off. So as Kit goes quickest with a 6.988. So who's on the cusp? Matthias, Ruben, Ivan, Ricky, you, and Mike. Do you know what? There's a lot of drivers here tonight who are capable of getting themselves into Q3, but it's all about who could just find an extra hundreds of 2 to try and get themselves inside the top 10. You just need the extra hundreds of 2 to get yourself inside, because all these drivers have the capability to do so. But with the track, with the drivers being so condensed, it's so difficult.
Indeed, it is the top 13 within 5 tenths of each other. As Amos Lucas, he's down in P9. He's definitely on the cusp because he only got a tenth of a second, less than that, to the drop zone, and he's not improving at the moment through sector 1 400 down to the first part of the lap. But let's see if he can gain some more. As he misses the apex just ever so slightly, and he runs out slightly wide as well through turn 7 and 8, and that sure has compromised his line and exit speed, and he has backed off. So he's going to have to recharge his ERS. There's still 2 minutes to go, so enough time to go for another lap, and he has recharged his ERS, so not going to be able to improve on this particular lap, as Kevin, just ahead of him in V8, is on another lap as well, and he's improving by almost a tenth of a second through sector 1. I cannot believe how incredibly close it is, and it's only Q2, which will provide some great entertainment in the final part of qualifying, as well as the top 2 separated by 8 thousandths of a second. Absolute scenes. But Mike down in P14, he's at the end of his lap, and he might get a little bit of a slipstream to the LP just ahead of him, which is Mathies, and is Mathies on another lap as well? I think he might be draining the batteries. Down in P10, he needs to improve with 1 minute and 15 seconds to go. He crosses the line, he goes up to P3, good improvement. As Mike, he goes directly behind him in P4, and the top 5 is separated by 88 thousandths of a second, and somehow Mike and Eric set the exact same lap time, but Mike is ahead despite setting it later, as Kevin now goes faster at 106.923. The gaps are getting smaller and smaller at the front, and it is so incredibly close. And Fireblaze, after all of that, is down in P10, and the pressure is on his shoulders.
Indeed, the championship contender down at P10. He is currently in a flying lap as I watch Lucas down Magulio. Let's see if he's up or down in the middle sector. He is 1/10 up exactly in his middle sector, but it may not be enough. Maybe a few more hundreds of seconds to try and get himself inside that top 10. Here he is then, as he used the rest of his battery. Mike got a nice slipstream off the back of somebody on his lap time. But Lucas knows this stream. Here he is. Towards the line he goes. It's P7. What a mega lap time there for Lucas. Gets himself inside the top 10. F1 Shorts is on the brink. Where's Fireblaze? Fireblaze is down in his middle sector. Here he is across the line. It's not an improvement. He stays in P12. And the championship contender, unfortunately, does not make himself get inside the top 10. Here's ETA Ruben, the Chinese race winner Grand Prix. Here he is, 3/10 up in his little sector, and as you can see, a bit of a moment on the curb, a bit sketchy going down in towards Joe Sao, as we see a van go up into P7 in the McLaren, just settling behind Lucas, ahead of Lucas and ahead of Eric, as we see Ruben then coming towards the line. Let's see what the Dutchman could do. P4 for him, the exact same lap time as Matisse. These times are getting so close. Robbie's on the brink, again eliminated. What about Heitekas? Heitekas is not improving. F1 Shorts is out of Judd Sao. Not quite sure if he's up or down in the middle sector, but it's between Robbie Jacobs and F1 Shorts. F1 Shorts, who won the Belgian Grand Prix in the wet conditions, now makes his way towards the finish line. Let's see what lap time he can set in the Mercedes. He gets himself inside the top 10, but Robbie Jacobs goes into P2, and he is second, separated by 200ths of a second. First down to fourth, under a tenth of a second, and Ruben and Matisse set the exact same lap time. Mike and Eric set the exact same lap time as well. So can you believe it? 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th all have the exact same lap time as well. It's unbelievable.
It's absolutely incredible. The top 11 or top 12, top 13 even, maybe 3/10 of a second. It's never been this close before. I have seen at least, but this is absolutely incredible. But unfortunately for Fireblaze, he is starting down in P14, which is going to make his task of winning the championship even more difficult, because he not only will have to win the race, he will have to score the fastest lap as well. So it's going to have to be a Max Verstappen 2024 Brazilian Grand Prix type of race for him, all the way down near the back of the field. But wow, what a Q2 session, and this is going to be great entertainment for the final part of qualifying as well.
Yeah, exactly. Fireblaze compromised in 14th place. The championship is slipping out of his hands, but we know that Ysbrand has, I think Ysbrand is going to comfortably win the championship. He's got nothing to worry about, because, yes, to win a race is one thing, but at the same time, on count back, it is Ysbrand who's going to win the Grand Prix. Fireblaze needs to fast up the Grand Prix to win the championship, but it's so difficult in first place to get the fast lap of the Grand Prix, because other people behind you have nothing to lose will get to the championship as well. So like you said, Fireblaze will have to do a Max Verstappen type shit and go from the back. Have to do a Max Verstappen type thing and go from the back of the field towards the top of the field if he can. But the drivers eliminated is F1 Shorts, Adam, Heitekas, Fireblaze and Ricky U. I thought Adam was safe in P2 momentarily, but he's not. He got demoted down to P12, so fortunately he retired, I think, quite early in the session, was P3, and he has been knocked out on Q2 then. So this is going to be an interesting qualifying session, and we'll see then who could take pole. Heitekas, who got knocked out in Spain, unfortunately, but he did win the Grand Prix the last time he was knocked out of Q2, just saying, but I don't know if he could do it here in Brazil. But yeah, Heitekas will be watching now with us to see who will take pole, and let's see, does he have better race pace than qualifying pace? Because we always know that Heitekas is always thereabouts as well, always in the picture. Even in Spain, when he had no chance to win the Grand Prix until those safety cars came out by Stefan. And I don't think Stefan is here either, because Misha has replaced him in the Alpine. So 12 minutes, and we'll see who could take pole around here in Interlagos. It's going to be spectacular, because all 10 drivers have been in close proximity of each other, and I can't wait to see what happens at the end of these 11 minutes. Milan, not an easy question for you, but who do you think is going to take pole?
Oh my goodness. Well, I think it's gonna be a 10-way fight for pole position. I think you could say any name, and they have a decent chance of getting pole position. I know that Robbe is very quick. Kevin has been as well, so I guess either one of those would be a safe guess. But in reality, it could be anyone else as well, because just how close it has been, under 3/10 separating the top 10. You never know, if someone makes just a slight of mistakes, you could drop down 5 positions just because of how close it is. So I really wouldn't know, but those would be my safest guesses. But Mike is the first one out on track in the Ferrari. We'll be surprised to see if he is going to go on and take pole position. If he does, then he can very much help out his teammate in whatever way he needs to do. But he also needs to think about the Constructors' Championship as well. because Ferrari are the championship leaders by 19 points, and both drivers need to score points against the Williams drivers and the Haas drivers. But Mike, he is going to be the first one to attempt a lap time with 10.5 minutes to go. We're going to ride on board with the Ferrari driver as he makes his way down the start-finish straight and in towards turn 1. The center is braking and misses the apex slightly then, and he has to be careful not taking too much curb there, and he's backed off immediately, has he? I think he has, with a bit of a mistake through the first chicane, and that is not going to be the first lap on the road. Right behind, Robert is very close to the back of the Red Bull, and I think that is Ruben just ahead, and he might actually get held up because of that, because Ruben doesn't seem to have the pace that Robert has at the moment, and he's really catching up to the back of Red Bull. That is going to hurt his chances, or his lap so far, and now he's right at the back, and I'm sure, yeah, he is going to back off. So Robert just started his lap a little bit too close to the back of the Red Bull, trying to get a slipstream. Hasn't paid off. Ruben does continue on to finish his flying lap.
Quite strange that, but Robbie Jacobs trying to slipstream with Tempo got too close. I think a lot of drivers in this game have tried to get the slipstream in qualifying because, you know, slipstream is superior. The dirty air, not as effective as it should be in real life, because in real life you will not see that at all, being so close to somebody back in qualifying. Here comes Ruben then, the pace setter, immediately with a 7.4, but we know that lap time is going to be absolutely obliterated. Mike goes into P2 and Robbie goes up into P2, so not representative lap times as a van goes quickest, but not much, only by about 24 hundredths of a second there between those two. But I think these guys on new soft powered tyres, because I think in Q1 and Q2, with the grid being so close, I think a lot of these guys had to use more than one set of soft powered tyres. Maybe the people who got to Q2 on the medium powered tyres might have to benefit. So we'll see if people have a set of the soft powered tyres saved for this disposal for the Grand Prix or qualifying. Who knows? Because the soft powered tyres, an extra set could come in handy. But do you want to use it here in qualifying, or do you want to use it in the race? It's all about strategy here, and will it pay dividends for you now, or will it buy you back later in the Grand Prix? But let's see then who is on a flying lap. Kick has backed off, Eric has backed off, so a lot of people on their first lap. Misha has invalidated, so a scruffy first lap for a majority of the drivers. I think Kevin is currently on course for his first flying lap. He is down towards turn 4, but he did miss the apex slightly, but we ride on board with the McLaren driver, who we know who is super quick. The Qatar Grand Prix, where he took the win, as Robbie Jacobs goes quicker with a 7.259. He did get it hooked up on his second lap on those sets of soft powered tyres there. So Robbie currently occupies first place as Kevin has slowed down. So I don't think he's happy with that lap time. As Eric goes quicker again with a 7.53. Of course, the man that was the pace setter in Q1 now sits on pole, but we know the people before got themselves inside the 6.9, 6.8 era. So let's see if they can do it once again. Lucas and Matisse are currently on a flying lap, but Matisse has invalidated. Lucas is climbing up towards Ferradora in 6th gear, fully flat out, of course. It's incredible to see the speeds of these cars in the high-speed corners. Now coming towards the slow corners here, where it's all about just being patient, don't go out too wide, and we head down towards turn 10, famous for the crash between Alex Albon and Lewis Hamilton, and Sergio Perez spinning as well back in 2024 Brasilia Grand Prix, as Lucas now ends up the set with a 51.2, a bit hesitant going in towards George Sau, but he rides the curve, which a lot of people have done in this qualifying session, so clearly have the confidence and belief in their cars to ride curbs around here, which can be like quite lethal if you misjudge it. Here comes Lucas towards the line, goes up into P2 ahead of Robbie Jacobs, and by about under 200ths of a second then, as we await Matisse. Both RP drivers haven't set a lap time just yet, but here comes Misha towards the line. What can he do? He goes second place. Wow.
Misses out by 12 thousandths of a second, so already pretty close in this final part of qualifying, but it might just be a real one lap shootout in the end, because I think most of these drivers are on a used set of tires at the beginning of this session, so it's going to be basically a one-shot qualifying in the end with a bit of practice. But Eric is the pace setter once again in Q3, but you have seen a 106, and there is a 106, a 106.8, the quickest we've seen so far, with Kevin finally hooks up his lap, and he is now at the front by 0.2 of a second, and that lap time is going to be very hard to beat, because it's the quickest we've seen so far, and is anyone going to be able to get anywhere near that? As Mike is on another route lap as well. Matisse is on a lap. He goes a 50.8 in the middle sector, quite quick. Let's see if it's going to be able to pull that through in this final sector. Final sector, basically one corner and the entire back straight. But you have to save up a lot of battery to drain it as he runs to the line. 106.8 as well, gets close, but not quite close enough. 37 thousandths of a second separates himself from Kevin out in front. But it's already heating up this qualifying session. We've got 5 minutes to go as Mike down in P9. His first lap time is 8 seconds off the pace, not representative as he backed off. And let's see if he's going to be able to find it properly. He has used quite a bit of ERS already on this lap, so might be going into medium in the middle sector to save up for that final sector as he makes his way out of turn 9 and now down into the braking zone of turn 10, where it's very easy to just dip a wheel into the grass on the outside, which can really unsettle your car and send you spinning around. Now flat out through turns 11 and into turn 12 is up by 6.7 seconds. He will need to be a little bit faster in the final sector as well to be up there with the big guns, but he's going to deploy the ERS, everything he has, the DRS, and runs very narrow to the line. It's going to be 107.2, puts him in P7 right now with 4 minutes to go.
I have to mention as well that Kevin usually takes a bit of time to adjust in qualifying. He can't set the pace immediately, but when he does set the pace, it's blisteringly quick. It may take him 1 or 2 laps to get up to pace, hence why he's fueled the car for a few laps. Maybe he's one of those drivers that can't set the pace initially, like me, where it takes about quite a few laps to try and get themselves in where they need to be. But when it comes to qualifying, there's a lot of pressure ramping up as well, trying to get the perfect lap, with the one perfect lap you need to put yourself in pole position, and it could take a long time, and some people just don't have it, unfortunately, because it's sustained the pressure too much. Maybe they're not really good at qualifying as well, attacking every single corner and getting on the brakes, getting on the apex, getting on the accelerator at the right time, carrying the speed to the corners. Some people are just better in race trim overall. I've seen it this season as well, where people have struggled in qualifying. Bobby Jacobs, 3/10 off in the middle sector, needs to find a bit more time in the last sector if he wants to get himself on pole position. As we see now, the Belgian driver with the DRS wide open. Can he put himself above the Dutches? We're about to find out right now as he crosses the line. Is it pole?
Ooh.
Nope, it's a 6.9. And Kevin says, I just didn't practice, that's it. I just don't practice, that's it. Well, even if he doesn't practice, well, that explains everything when he struggles in his first few laps, because obviously it takes a bit of time for him to settle in. But the drivers can get themselves into a natural state, a natural flow as soon as they hit the track. It all comes back to their muscle memory as well, and the feel for the track, the feel for the car, the track conditions, and it's much more sunnier as well. So the track has ramped up and improved drastically since Q1 when it was cloudy and the track was green. But we got our drivers then out of the circuit. It seems that Kevin has saved an extra set of the soft compound tyres because he's out there once again. So maybe softs coming in handy for Q3. He did get himself, multiple people did get themselves into Q2 on a set of mediums, but I can't exactly remember those drivers. But Lucas, however, the man that won the Australian Grand Prix and won the sprint race too in Austria, here he is, and as he makes his way across the line to start his final potential flying lap. These drivers came out early, of course, because it's just a short track, 4.2 kilometers, 2.6 miles, and if you make a mistake on your first lap on your last set of soft compound tires, you've always got the grip and the time to do another flying lap. Here he is, 1,000 up in the first sector, so only just beating his personal best by a fraction, by a millisecond. But unfortunately, he invalidates on the exit of turn 4. And like I said, if you invalidate early doors on your lap, you've got the tyre life still. You can cool the tyres down, recharge the battery, and go once again. What have you seen there, Milan?
Kevin has gone off on his lap. I think he backed off because he has got the time to try again. He was up by 0.05 of a second, but going into turn 4, he just went straight on. Maybe to get out of the way of Robert, but he will not improve on this lap. But there's still time. But speaking of Robert, he was up by 0.5 of a second through sector 1 already, as he gets past the other McLaren of Ivan on the exit of turn 11. Let's see if he's going to be able to beat his lap time. 28,000 of a second. He's now catching up to the back of the Ferrari of Mike. And is he going to get some sort of slipstream? I think it's a little bit too far back to gain any time with that, so he needs to hope for a miracle in this final sector. Actually, he is going to get a slipstream, so is it going to be enough as Robert is going to cross the line, and he misses out by 29,000 of a second. Good improvement, but not able to beat Kevin, who is going to start his flying lap now.
Wow, so super close between those guys. Like I said, Kevin has started his flying lap, his last one. Lucas is down by 500 in the first second there, so not improving in the first sector. Mike is flashing up. You can see 4 cars in distance of each other. Where's Ruben? Ruben's coming through the center now. Kick is out there, but there is 30 seconds left to go in this session there, so I think he'll be the one. He'll be the last one to cross the line to start his flying lap. So on board with the other Williams and Lucas. Remember, it's not just Ysbrand versus Fireblaze, the championship. It's Williams versus Ferrari as well. So there's 1 Ferrari in Q3 and 2 Williams in Q3 as well. So Williams have the upper hand so far, but they need to score a lot of points during this Grand Prix. I don't think Fireblaze is too concerned about the Drivers' Championship. It's the constructors he needs to be worried about, because they have a big chance of winning that with the points difference between first and second. Here comes Lucas towards the line. He crosses it right now and stays in P6, so it does improve, but unfortunately stays where he is right now. Here comes Mike, a better middle sector for him. He crosses the line. He goes up into P5, and McLaren right behind us. Where can he go? McLaren of Ysbrand stays in P8. As the other McLaren, let's see what Kevin could do. Kevin crossed the line. It's a 6.7. He raised the bar once again, as what a fantastic lap time there from Kevin. Robbie Jacobs, it doesn't improve on his lap. Matthias comes towards the line. Matthias goes up into P2 and just beat Robbie Jacobs there. And what about Eric? He's got a lot of ERS stored up in the last sector. So let's see then, will this benefit him on the main straight with the DRS wide open? Can Eric snatch pole away from Kevin? We're about to find out in a few seconds time. He crosses the line and stays in P4. It does improve as well. As that's it then, qualifying is done and dusted. Here comes Kick. Kick goes up into where is it? P5. That's qualifying done and dusted. But Haas also, thank you so much for the comment in the comment section. Haas also have a chance with the championship too. Let's not discount them.
Yeah, they are quite a bit behind though. 30 or 28 points to be exact. So it's a large gap they have to cover, and he only got 1 Haas driver inside the top 10. So it's going to be very difficult. But Kevin, incredible performance this qualifying. He's up on pole position by 1 with a 106.7. It's been so close through Q1 and Q2, and then Kevin in the end just snatches pole by over a tenth of a second, like it's absolutely nothing. Just ahead of Matthias, and Robin P3 ahead of Eric. Kick in P5, Mike in P6 in the Ferrari right behind the Williams, and the other Williams of Lucas, he is down in P9, while Fireblaze of course will start down in P14. So the battle is on for the Constructors' Championship. Between Ferrari, Williams and Haas have an outside chance, with Adam out just outside the top 10, but very much has got the pace to fight for good points, because it was so close in the second part of qualifying. But now we get to prepare ourselves for the race, for the season finale of SDN, and it's going to be spicy for sure around this track, with plenty of opportunities for overtakes and great battles in store, with probably some DRS trains as well, as you usually see around the Interlagos circuit. But it's going to be a good one for sure.
One final dance here in SDN. What a season it has been as well, with multiple race winners and fantastic battles throughout the whole season. It comes to an end here at this iconic circuit in Brazil. What a way to end it as well, because Brazil, in my opinion, should be the last race, and many other opinions as well, should be the last race of the season, as it has been since 2013, when Sebastian Vettel to the victory ahead of Mark Webber and Fernando Alonso as well, where Valtteri Bottas got a puncher with a collision with Lewis Hamilton. I'm pretty sure you don't want me to say that, but yeah, it's quite funny back there, because Bottas was about Marco trying to unlap himself against Hamilton. But yeah, Bottas hasn't really had a lot of luck around here. I don't think he's ever won around here in Brazil. He took pole, I think, but Sebastian Vettel beat him towards turn 1 in 2017, and Vettel went on to win. When Hamilton spun around and crashed in Ferradura and started all the way back to the field. But I think he finished in P4 that day, or 5, behind Raikkonen or Ricardo. Can't exactly remember. It was a long, long time ago. But Kevin says he got blocked on his last lap. Was on course for 0.5 as well. Even when there's only 10, even when there's only 10 drivers in this session, drivers are still getting blocked. It's just unbelievable, because the leagues I commentate for, vast majority except this one, have short qualifying format, and somehow all 20 drivers get out of the way for each other. But when there's half the grid, you expect there to be a lot of space, but some drivers still meet on the same piece of tarmac and reach a lap time. But Kevin's still on pole, so I don't think he'll care that much. But the lights are about to go away, because there's no formation lap. Here we go for one last time here in Brazil. The final race of the season is underway. Good start from the LP driver. He's alongside McLaren as we head down towards turn 1. It's 3 abreast, is it? As the LP takes the lead. Here comes the Haas around the outside in towards turn 1. No space in towards turn 2. Now under pressure from Eric right behind the Ferrari out of shape. Makes contact with the Red Bull behind. F1 Shorts goes up into P9. So major contact.
Lucas.
Lots of end plates as well. There's a loss of end plate from Lucas down there as we head down towards turn 4. No moves being made so far, but a bit of drama on the opening lap with some people losing the end plates as well, as we see a bit of carbon fibre spooned up on the track as well. The exit of turn 4. Here comes TVHNL versus Khatikas as we head uphill towards Verador we go. Lucas in the background unfortunately has lost his end plate. Robbie Jacobs under pressure from Eric as we head down towards turn 8. We go side by side, one in the mediums, one in the hard compound tyres. Eric swoops around the outside, has the inside line for turn 10, gets the move stick. What a fantastic move there from Eric. Mike and Ruben are scrapping away for P7 and P8. Mike gets ahead, not yet though. The side by side in towards Maguglia we go. Let's see which one of those two end up on top. It's going to be super tight heading towards Johnstown. One of you is bound to get pushed off the circuit, but they keep enough space there between those two. Mike is very aggressive as well. Back in Spain and other races, lost the DRS because he fought so hard in the open stages, so maybe going to play it safe this time. Here we are on the end of lap 1, DRS enabled as we head down towards turn 1. It's been actually past first lap. Here comes Mike up the inside. F1 Shorts makes contact with the Red Bull as F1 Shorts tries to keep his foot in there. Now side by side with the Ferrari once again as we exit turn 3. But F1 Shorts backs off for the time being. Eric rides the back of Kevin, then he's not wanting to wait around on his mini compound tyres, putting the pressure on immediately as we head down towards turn 4. Adam on the back of F1 Shorts, side by side bit of contact as Adam goes up into P9 ahead. Oh, more contact off the track there where Adrian Suto and I think Jarno Trulli crashed back in 2009, but they're back on the road together safely, no crashes. Oh, there's a big moment out of Ferradora there, and this time I need to take a break. Milan, you continue.
Wow, what an opening stage to this race with plenty of battles already.
Who's that?
The first 2 laps, and that is Kik going wheel to wheel with Robbe. Robbe struggling on his hards, of course. The cars around him have the tire advantage. He, Kevin, and Mike are only 3 drivers inside the top 10 on the hards. As Erik is already having a look at Kevin in B2. As Mathies leads the way on the mediums by a few tenths of a second, but Erik is going to pull alongside the McLaren. He's going to go up the inside as they go wheel to wheel on the start finish straight, and I think the Aston Martin is going to pull ahead as we go into towards turn 1. Erik almost trying to go for the move from Mathies as Kevin tries to hang it around the outside, but he's not going to be able to do that. Kevin drops down to P3 and Erik up into second place and might even go for the race lead because he will have the DRS to the Alpine, but he is going to stay behind for now and just save up the battery for a brief moment there. Met Robert down in P4, just ahead of Kik, Misha, Ruben, Mike, Rekaju and Adam as Ramon and Fireblaze find themselves with the Fireblaze has dropped down to P15. He's also on the hard set of compound tires, but he can't afford to lose too much time in the early stages of this race. Ramon is a few tenths of a second behind Gaitigas, but they are all still in DRS range, apart from Octavia down in P20. But Mathies leads the way at the end of lap 3, just ahead of Erik, both on the medium compound tire.
F1 Shorts had a bit of a moment out of turn 10. Not quite sure if he lost it by himself on traction or if Van hit the back of him. But however, they're almost at DRS range. Gaitigas is fighting his fellow Dutchman, F1 Shorts, trying to keep hold of that 12th place. But he still goes. And at the front of the field, we've got Eric overtaking Mathies for the lead of the Grand Prix. Nothing Mathies could do. But Eric now leads the Grand Prix after a fantastic start for him. Here he is. Alpine on the inside in towards turn 1. That's Mathies from a long way back going for a dive bomb. But unfortunately could not pay it off there as Kik just defends beautifully against the RP driver of Misha, who is trying to progress up the field as well. So dive bomb there from the RP driver, but unfortunately could not pay it off and remains in P6 for the time being. Then Kevin, however, stays in this DRS train for first and second, so these guys are not able to pull away on the mini compound tyres. But that's the problem, you know. Even when the medium compound tyres are hard, you just can't pull away from the DRS train whatsoever because you're all glued together, stayed in tight. So you've got 2 DRS zones around here, and you just can't break away then. So I think Kevin is in a really good spot here in P3 to hold on to the back of these two. As Matthias was a ghost, I think he lost it out of turn number 9, lost the rear end of the car and registered as a ghost, but now he's solid once again as Kevin just he's trying to get past him when he was a ghost, but I couldn't do so as we exit Judsao. So DRS enabled once more again on this straight as Eric's got a 5/10 advantage ahead of Matisse. First and second, of course, on the mini compound tyres. Kevin go for a long durable stint on the hard compound tyres in P3 as we watch these guys go through on your screen, headed down towards turn 1. No moves being yet so far, but behind us, I think Van's going for a move, or Adam's going for a move up the inside of Reiki Yu, and he goes up into P9. Reiki Yu, yeah, started 15th place up into P10, so great start for him, but short one place backwards because Adam's ahead now up into P9. But further along, is that Matisse going for a move? It isn't. He's just so close, right behind Eric.
Fireblaze drops down to P16, just been overtaken there by Lucas, who had dropped down the order on the opening lap, and he goes wide, coming out of turn 4. That doesn't allow Fireblaze to get back through as they go wheel to wheel. A Ferrari and a Williams fighting it out on track. Lucas still hangs on the inside as we go wheel to wheel. On the outside is the Ferrari of Fireblaze, running out slightly wide, but they're still going at it with Lucas on the inside. We will turn it to the outside line. 4 third riders are still fighting wheel to wheel through the middle sector of the lap, but Lucas with tire advantage has the better traction, is eventually able to put in front of the Ferrari. They cannot afford to fight too much or they will lose out. And F1 short, he's in P13, he's got 9/10. His gap towards Geitenkaas needs to be careful, and Rekaju has had a moment. He has dropped a lot of time and he finds himself now behind Ivan, and Ivan, he's now got 1.2 seconds to P9, and Erik has been overtaken by Matisse. And here comes Kevin, trying to have a go off the inside, bit of contact between the two. That was almost very close, of nearly taking himself out. But Erik, he's up to P2, stays in P2. Kevin holds on to P3, and here comes Robert trying to have a go at the McLaren. He's going to pull to the inside with the help of DRS, both of them on the hards. But Kevin, he's going to pull just ahead and stay in front of the Haas. And look how close Kevin is to the back there of the Aston Martin, while his teammates fights it out with Geitenkaas on the outside of turn 4 there, dropping behind 2 seconds to the top 9. Geitenkaas is going to have the outside line for turn 6, but they're still going at it. Rekaju keeps his foot in on the inside, and through goes Ivan as well as he goes wheels to wheel with Geitenkaas, who's on the hards, and Ivan is up into P11. Geitenkaas down to P12, but still keeping his nose in on the inside of the McLaren. More contact between the two of them. Ivan finally pulls off the move. Geitenkaas down to P12, but the top 9 have broken free because Rekaju, he is 2.8 seconds. He's done a good job so far in this race, but after that moment on the previous lap has dropped behind quite significantly, and that is terrible news for everyone behind him as well in their fight for a good position in this race.
And here comes Ruben on the back of the LP driver as we head down towards turn 1. Adam sets off past the Grand Prix, but here comes Robbie Jacobs on the inside of the McLaren driver as we head through 1, 2 and 3 as they make contact. Robbie goes off the track, rejoins and makes more contact with Kevin, and Kick behind us is looking to try and take advantage on both of them as we now head down towards turn 4. We go. Eric takes the lead of the Grand Prix once again in the background. That's Mike going for a move on Misha. He puts himself into P7, but not yet because he goes deep in the corner. He's also on the hard compound tyres as Misha is looking to get back through as they go wheel to wheel now, heading up towards Rodor. Look at this camera shot. We see the two cars, but unfortunately the Alpine had no grip and stays behind for the time being then. So a monumental scrap, a big battle going on between all these drivers. However, Ramon picked himself up a 3-second penalty, and like I said, P10 downwards have broke the DRS trail. So the top 9 have broke free, and now these guys in the top 9 will decide who will win the Grand Prix. As when you break the DRS train in any circuit, it is just so difficult to get yourself back in because you're in no man's land essentially, and it's so frustrating because even though you think you have the pace to get yourself back in, you just can't because the guys ahead of DRS more speed on the straight, and it's a massive constitutive effect as well with all these guys following each other as we now head down towards turn 1. I'm interested in something else as we head down towards 1. Is that a Haas looking for a move? It's not. It's Adam staying behind for the time being, and Geitenkaas up into P10 after a disappointing qualifying, gets himself inside the top 10. There's a Williams and Lucas up the inside of Ramon. He's up into P13. Disappointing race so far for Lucas, but remember the first lap he dropped down towards last place, and Matthias and Eric once again go into battle for first and second, but Matisse stays behind Eric. These guys are getting super close to track limit violations. Adam gets ahead of Misha, gets up into P8. I'm standing up while commentating, by the way, as Adam is 1 second behind. So somebody told me to stand up while commentating, one of my fellow friends, and it's actually working. It really is working, so I'm going to try and stand up more. But have you noticed the weather too, Milan? It's a bit cloudy out there. It was sunny to begin with.
Yeah, that is true, in fact, because the clouds are getting out. I'm not sure if there's rain forecasted, but if it does, then it could turn into a classic race with rain around Brazil. We have seen it plenty of times before, like last year in 2024 and 2016 as well. I've seen some great races in the wet around Brazil, so if there's going to be rain in store, it could become a very interesting race. As Mathies is going to get past Erik on the main straight back into the lead of the race. Is Kevin going to try and find a way past as well? No, because Erik defends the inside line, and Kevin with the hards still not able to hang it around the outside. As the mediums just have the slightest advantage still at this stage of the race, but it won't take too long for the Hearts to be the quicker tire, as he's still within DRS range, close to the back. And that is Mike, very close on the inside of Ruben. Not a lot of space being given there by the Red Bull, but he sends it on the inside regardless, and he gets the job done. Bold move there by Mike to put himself into P6 on the Hearts, fighting it out against the mediums, but he's put himself in front of the Red Bull and can now try and race after. Kick up ahead in the Williams, who is getting held up in this middle sector because everyone is saving the battery through the middle part of the lap to push it on the main straight. But Geitegas in P10, the gap still not shrinking towards the top 9, and he's still got a massive trim behind him all the way down to P19 with the 2 Saubers holding on. As Lucas is very close to the back of F1 Shorts. We've got a moment. Is that rain? Is that rain? I think I just saw a few drops of rain on the screen.
What a timing, because when you said, is that rain, same place you said it as Botsbutter said, is that Glock in towards Judd Sau. The rain has hit Judd Sau. It is raining now in this Grand Prix. What a twist, what a turn. And here we are, headed down in towards turn 1 we go. Robbie Jacobs on, contact between Kevin and Robbie. But now Kevin's pressurised, no space given, like there was between Hamilton and Verstappen back in 2022, when those two came to blows down towards turn number 2, like I just said, as George Russell won his first ever Grand Prix around here in Brazil. But luckily, none of them have broke their wings as we go down towards turn 4. People are struggling. Contact is in the wall. They're both in the wall together. Can you believe it? Eric and Matisse both meet in the wall together, and what a massive shame. It's just a case where I think rear wheel to front rear to front right wheel type shit, unfortunately, where it's just one of them things happen. You tag wheels and you're both going in the wall. What a massive shame. I'm surprised that didn't cause a safety car. So 2 heavy contenders unfortunately drop out of this race, and DRS has been disabled. You can see how much people are struggling there on the Hawk. Look at this. Matt gets a better exit. He might go around the outside in towards Maguli. Here he goes, sliding in the corner. And look at the Red Bull in the background. They both make contact as we head down towards John's side. We go. Elbows out. Mike goes around the outside in towards John's side. The Red Bull also getting out of shape there. You can see fighting for traction. The Haas and Red Bull make contact in the background. Mike gets us over to P3. Surely these guys are going to pit as Robbie. Wow, that could be illegal there for Robbie. A Felipe Massa type shit back in 2013. He gets a 10-second time penalty. Mike gets a 10-second time penalty. Unbelievable.
Absolute scenes as the rain is pouring down. Geitegas and Matisse is retired from the session. Absolute carnage at the front of the field as the rain is pouring down in just a single lap. It just starts pouring it down. Everyone is going on to the intermediates. Would not expect it. One lap has completely turned around the entirety of this race, with Matisse and Eric, of course, having that collision 1 lap ago. But Kevin, he has come out of the pit lane in P1, and let's take a look at the penalty status for everyone, because Robbe got a 10-second, Mike got a 10-second, and Geitegas, but those 3 have picked up a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane due to those wet conditions. Your braking distance will always be longer going into the pit lane, and unfortunately has got out Robbe and Mike, which is great news for Kevin, because he is got around 2 to 3 seconds to kick in P4. Was the first one without a penalty. He's just ahead of Ruben and Misha. F1 Shorts, Adam in P7 up the inside of the Mercedes, but unable to go for the move just yet. They're trying to go for the switchback with Apple turning to the outside line, probably close to the back end of the Mercedes. Now switches to the inside of turn 10, goes wheel to wheel with the Mercedes. Great move there from Adam as he gets the job done. He's up at the P7, making some good progress so far in this race from outside the top 10. And he now can try and chase after his teammate in esports, Misha, just up ahead, 1.5 seconds, as F1 Shorts seems to be struggling. It was the opposite back in Belgium in rainy conditions. This time he seems to be struggling a little bit because Ramon is trying to find a way past as well. Around the outside, he will have to go in towards turn 1, but he doesn't even need to, because the straight line speed advantage puts him ahead of the Mercedes. And now the other VC Cars of RB of Geitegas, who is inside the top 10, is going to try and find a way past F1 Shorts as well, as Adam picks up a 3-second time penalty. Lucas, after his first lap shenanigans, is back in P11 as something has happened up ahead.
Yeah, so Kick had a massive slide. I think he got hit by Ruben, and he went sideways in towards turn 4, so dropped it behind the Red Bull drive for the time being. Then so in the space of 1 lap, things will completely change. About 4 or 5 people got themselves a 10-second penalty back in the pit lane as Ricky Yu gets ahead of Fireblaze. So Fireblaze having a tough time, whether it is dry or whether it is wet conditions, trying to hold on as much as he can. Not a place you want to go down the inside there, but luckily he stays behind for the time being. He's got TVH NL right behind him. Mummy Nick and AMS Eric, who is down into P17. What a shame for both Matthias and Eric, who came to blows down in towards turn number 4. And now we see Robbie Jacobs putting massive pressure on Kevin Zumberg, but we know Robbie Jacobs got a 10-second attack penalty, not on the inside there, but now we can because the white line is no longer there. As Ruben is up at the P3, there's a spinner of the Sauber as we head down towards turn 1. As Ruben gets ahead of Mike, does he? He does. Makes the corner stick, but has the race to line going towards turn number 2 and 3, but gets a compromised exit now. Mike might have a go. Oh, Ruben almost lost the car like Fernando Alonso did back in 2012, all those years ago, as we see these guys fight ferociously as Mike is going down the inside towards turn 4, and there's more contact. Unbelievable. Come on, guys.
Yeah, that was not really a gap there for Mike to go for, and he went for it regardless, and it almost sent both himself and the Red Bull into the wall, but Ruben has lost out because of that 2 positions, as he was sent spinning sideways by the Ferrari, which is allowed to kick through ahead of the Red Bull now, and he can now try and fight with the Ferrari up ahead. Of course, rivals in the Constructors' Championship, Ferrari and Williams. I think Ferrari at the moment is still doing enough in the Constructors, and Haas actually are the best of the 3 teams at the moment in this race, but both drivers have got a penalty. Robert with a 10-second and Adam with a 3-second time penalty. So Ferrari are doing a good job, but Mike with a 10-second time penalty as well, so he will drop behind. It's going to be very tight in the Constructors' Championship, and certainly something to look out for the remainder of this race, as Robert is closing the gap once again towards Kevin, but he's not quite going to go for the move just yet, opting to stay behind for now. Still got 22 laps to go in this race. There's a long way to go, and anything can still happen with the weather as well, as Kick closing the gap towards Mike, and further down the order to Visa Ketchup RB's P8 and P9. Geitenkaas has completely dropped F1 short as Mominik goes up the inside of TVHNL up to P15, and Fireblaze not really has been making progress at all in this race, still stuck there in P14 where he has started, but he is going to try and find a way past. Reikachu up ahead, he switches to the left hand side, back to the right, he's on the grass, and he goes wide and he spins almost around, doing a Lando Norris back last year in turn 1, and it's not really going Fireblaze's way today, and that's really not helping his championship hopes.
Now, all they could do is just focus on the Constructors' Championship. That's all Ferrari needs to do. And so far, Mike is up there in P3, but I think he does have a 10-second penalty. Yes, he does. So that'll put a massive dent in his race afterwards. Lucas is cleared up the order to P11. Remember, he was one of those drivers that fell backwards into last place, but I'm not quite sure who the driver was that picked up end plate damage, because we saw it on the track, but we're not quite sure who it was. Here comes Robbie now, side by side with Kevin as we head down towards turn 1. Despite a 10-second penalty, he is not giving up as we head towards 1 and 2, side by side with Robbie on the inside in towards turn 2. Nice move there from the Haas man. The Belgian puts himself into first place, but unfortunately he does have a 10-second penalty for speed in the pit lane for flipping the shoes of Ysbrand. Oh, what's that? What's happened there?
Adam and Raymond have crashed. The virtual safety car has been deployed as Raymond was just clipping the back of the Haas on the exit of turn 1, which sent both of them straight into the wall on the outside, and a full safety car has been deployed. Full safety cars out, and that is going to switch up things once again in this race.
Oh my goodness, it is indeed. You can see the yellow dot on your screen indicating the safety car is that, because sometimes the virtual safety car does appear, but it will switch to the safety car, and safety car has been deployed. And I remember a few games ago where sometimes it wasn't a glitch, but it went from virtual safety car to a safety car depending how bad the incident was. If you remember, can't remember what game it was, 2022 or 3, I can't exactly remember, but yeah, I do remember that added to the game. But this means Mike, Geitenkaas, Adam, Robbie Jacobs, all those people that pit themselves for 10-second penalty, that can be removed if they want to pit, but it's too early. But yeah, it's way too early. There's only 4 laps of those inches, so yeah, way too early to go for a pit stop. But I'm not quite sure what Robbie would do. Would he go to the pit lane, get rid of his 10-second penalty and hope for the best later on in the Grand Prix? He does enter the pit lane. So does Mike behind, so they want to get rid of their 10-second penalty. Imagine they spin again in the pit lane. Mike slow it down. He does. Mike does slow it down then. So those two and Geitenkaas are removing their 10-second penalties as they get onto a bonus of inters. Only 5 laps fresher, but at least the 10-second penalty will be gone. F1 Shorts, however, has been promoted up into P5 despite starting in 11th place, and this safety car means that all 19 drivers will be bunched up once again. Oh, I want to see what happens going down towards, yeah, they slow it down, because I saw a bunch of cars heading towards the safety car and I'm going full speed, so thankfully none of them hit each other.
Muminick up to P9, but look at the positions of the two Williams drivers, P2 and P6, and then look at the two Ferrari drivers, P13 and P16. At the moment, I think Williams will clinch the title because both Ferraris out of the points. Williams has got 26 points on the board right now, which means that they will close the gap because the gap was only 19 points. So Ferrari have got a job on their hands for the remainder of this race. They need to get back into the points with both of their drivers, or else they might lose out in the Constructors' Championship.
Oh dear, massive blunder for Ferrari. It seems like they had it in their advantage. All they had to do was finish inside the top 10, or at least stay in close proximity and Major Williams. But Williams have the advantage so far. By the way, guys, I'm not a mathematic. I can't do maths and commenting at the same time. So hopefully someone in the comment section or admin team can figure out the maths very quickly, because we need to. There's 20 laps left to go in this race. And so far, the pendulum has swung towards Williams' way. But Ferrari, Mike's got the pace. Fireblaze doesn't. Mike is formidable in the right conditions. Don't discount Las Vegas when he finished in P3. He seems to be quite quick in the rain, I've noticed recently. So Mike is very strong. So it could all lay down towards Mike's hands to try and get the hand of the championship trophy.
Indeed, it's going to be a tricky end to this race, and they need to get a move on back at the Scuderia, because they've got 19 points in the championship, and Williams are up for a point tally more than that in this race so far. So it's going to be interesting, but there are some drivers in there. Muminick, P9, it wouldn't expect him to be there. TVHNL down to P10, both of them were at the back of the field earlier on in this race, and we know the drivers like Erik, Robbe, Mike, they're all very quick and have got the pace to get back through the field, as Ramon is the final driver to close the gap. And I think then we will go back into the pit lane for green flag racing at the end of this lap, with Kevin still out in front, but he was in a very good position before the safety car, with the two drivers behind him both having a 10-second time penalty and a few seconds to kick in P4, but that gap has completely shrunk to just a few tenths of a second. So a win for Kevin is not looking that much more likely like it was a few laps ago, but still we know how quick he is, and he has been the quickest driver so far in this race, I think. But he's going to have to hold off a Williams of Kick, and Kick will be very hungry because he knows that the Constructors' Championship is on the cards, and he knows that he needs to finish as high as possible in order to bring that championship trophy home. But safety car in this lap at the end of lap 17, about halfway into this race, and we're going to go back to green flag racing.
I don't think Kick, last season's champion, has won a race this season, so maybe Kick can win this race and possibly clinch the Constructors' Championship at the skin of their teeth. Lucas has won 2 races, but one of them was in the feature. One of them was at the Australian Grand Prix, the first race of the season, can you believe it or not, when it was Williams versus Alpine. But what a season it's been so far. We are entering the halfway point towards the end of the season. Lap 18 out of 36. Kevin's got a mega restart. Ruben putting pressure on Kick as we head down towards turn. We go. Ruben looking for the inside, but Kick just defends as we barrel roll in towards the first corner. Here comes Lucas over the inside in towards turn. What a lovely move from the Williams driver. Erik versus TVHNL versus Muminick. Oh, he goes off the track. TVHNL makes contact with Robbie Jacobs. Robbie Jacobs goes through. That's 2 places gained in the space of 2 corners. He's up into P10. Remember, he's on the faster intermediate tyres as we head down towards turn 4. So, the guys who pitted onto reserve inters, Mike now is up into P11. Oh, that's the Red Bull go off the track there. He almost did. But what I want to mention as well, new inters, by about 5-6 lap pressure, that does make a big difference in this game. So I think Robbie's in a good place here with a good tyre advantage over the rest of the field. Believe it or not, 5 or 6 laps does make a big difference on any tyre compound at all. So watch out for Robbie Jacobs, watch out for the guys on new tyres. Muminick is going side by side with Adam going in towards turn 9. Goes off the track, does Adam, as we head down towards turn 10. Both Aston Martins going side by side. That's Ricky U versus Erik. Erik, however, this is a big chance for him to get himself back in the mix, because remember, he crashed at turn 4 with Matthias. Now he's back into P8, and the track conditions look like they're starting to lighten up. Not as much substantial puddles as there were early on in the Grand Prix. It seems like it's getting drier and drier as well, so maybe a switch over to the dry compound tyres might happen in about a few laps time. We'll see. But as we enter lap 19, no DRS of course in these wet conditions. We're heading down towards turn 1, F1 shorts and Ysbrand scrapping away. The two Dutchmen go side by side as we see in the background. Robbie Jacobs, another place made. He's up into P9 ahead of Ricky Yu, and he's had an absolute charge. Rubens right behind Kick as they struggle for traction. The exit of turn 3. Kicks under massive pressure from the Red Bull behind as we head down towards turn 4. Is he confident the brakes? Kick is, but when he go out wide, he might do. As here comes Ruben on the inside. What a move! What a move as he slides himself up into P2, almost lost the car himself. But what a fantastic move there from Ruben. Robbie Jacobs is ahead of Eric, goes up into P7. Robbie Jacobs making good ground on those new in-speeded tyres.
Absolutely brilliant move there from Ruben, and Robbe is absolutely slicing through the field as Regadua Mike has picked up a 3-second time penalty and is getting the elbows out. Not sure what's going on with the Ferrari driver. He was very aggressive up the inside of the Aston Martin there of Regadua and has lost the position to Geitekas as well in the process now through turn 9 on the exit. Will get the position eventually. He was making good progress since the safety car restart, but it seems to be starting to fade away from the Ferrari boys at the moment because Mike, with a 3-second time penalty, will lose out eventually. But like you said, the track seems to be, or the weather conditions seems to be clearing up a little bit as Robbe is on the charts. He's got past Ivan now. He's up at the P6. What a chart he's been on since this safety car restart. And he can now chase after the top 5, which is tail ended there by Lucas. Erik gets past Ivan as well. He's up into P7, of course, 9 laps, all tyres. As Ramon gets past Mominik as well, but the two Ferraris need to get a move on their P12 or P14. At the moment, the championship trophy is slipping away from them. As we're on lap 20 of 36 still, a long way to go. And if it's going to dry up, that means there will be more opportunities. As Fireblaze gets past Regadua, an important move, because he now will be in a little bit of clean air with his teammate to close the gap towards the top 11 and get near the top 10 to get into the points. But it is going to be quite difficult there for Kevin out in front. He's got a bit of a gap towards Ruben, 7/10 of a second, as he has been mighty so far this race. And make that 8/10, almost 9/10. As the McLaren seems to be very comfortable out on track. Ruben at the moment, bit there on the exit of turn 12, hitting the outside curb. And has the rain stopped? I think it might have. So we might be going back to dry very shortly in a few laps time. That is going to spice things up. Really will be, as Kevin on to lap 21. Still your race leader ahead of Ruben, ahead of Kick, Misha, Lucas and Robbe now in the 1 second window as well to the top 5.
That 10-second penalty putting Robbie Jacobs back into P12 has done him good there, but only the rain periods lasted for a few laps, unfortunately for Robbie. He would love the rain to continue for a bit more so he can get himself amongst the rest, because he's right behind Lucas on much better tyres in comparison towards the top 5. He would love the rain shower to stay out there for a bit longer, but unfortunately he hasn't. So P6 was what he could do, and when they transition over to soft compound tyres, no, medium compound tyres, we should see that fight remain between the top 6 then. So it's all about surviving in the intermediate conditions there. A lot of people getting their elbows out, especially Mike as well. Mike risked it all, especially against a championship fight. He's behind Geitekas. He got himself a 3-second penalty and also large wheels as well with, I think, who was at the time? Was it Ricky Yu in the Aston Martin? I think it was. And he's risking it all, especially with the championship fight, as Geitekas touched the grass there on the inside, and Mike now slips through, goes up into B11 ahead of the Racing Bull. But the Racing Bull, oh, the Mercedes gets swamped by both of them. What a move from both Mike and Geitekas. And F1 shorts fall down to 12th. A Ferrari on the outside, the Racing Bull on the inside, and they both smoothed through. No contact was made. What a fantastic move there from Mike and Geitekas. Right behind, Robbie Jacobs is making a move. Somebody is in the pit lane as we head down towards turn 1. Late braking from the Haas driver. He makes the corner, a bit of contact between those two. Wheel bang in there as Lucas is trying to hold on, but he can't, as Robbie Jacobs may have picked up a warning on the exit of turn 3 there as he took too much curb and went off the track. So very careful in terms of track limits, because they can catch you out around the circuit. So Ivan, Mike, Ramon, Ricky Yu, Tyce, Octavia and TVHNL have all gone on the mini compound tyres. Was that the right time to call? Was that the right time to pit? We'll see in a few laps time.
Well, the weather progression, or the track progression, as Raymond has been disqualified from blocking the pit lane. That is one weird incident, as he might have spun on the exit, but that is one driver out. But what I was gonna say, the track progression with the weather earlier on was quite quickly, because in one lap it started raining, and immediately on that lap everyone needed to pit for the intermediate. So could it be a similar scenario right here with the rain stopping and the slicks immediately being the fast tire at the moment? A lot of drivers have pitted for mediums, and Ivan let's be honest, he's not really very slow at all compared to the intermediate runners, but he does pick up a 3-second time penalty.
Ruben! Oh! Ruben hit the back of Kevin in the pit lane, but Kevin did not get a 10-second penalty as Ruben outbroke himself defending from kick there as they all made the way in the pit lane. Ruben has lost a few places due to that as he sped almost in the pit lane but got saved by Kevin and luckily hasn't broken his wing either. So let's see, where are the medium runners? Where's Ysbrand? He's the one to watch out for. He's down in P14. He's not the highest medium runner, it must be said. I think it's Robbie Jacobs. Sorry, making a mistake there. These guys now on the Bandusai mini compound tires exiting the pit lane as Ivan and the Ferrari of Fireblaze did not get the undercut. They come out right now as Kevin rejoins in the net leader of the Grand Prix. The top three of Eric, Adam and Mummy Nick have stayed out there on the old mini compound tires. So Kevin has rejoined in P4. Now, the question is, can he break out the DRS range of Kick? Has he got the pace to do so? Kick now will be trying to push absolutely hard to get himself within the DRS range of Kevin to make sure he doesn't break away like he did in Qatar as well. What a fantastic drive for him in Qatar and in Las Vegas when he took his second victory of the season. Kick literally cut the corner there in towards turn 8, gets a massive swapper on the exit of turn 8 as well. So a double blunder there, double whammy for Lucas as Lucas gets a 3-second penalty. I was on board with the Williams of Kick, so I thought he got a penalty, but he didn't. It is Lucas down in P10. He's lost a lot of places due to a double start there from the Williams driver. So now Kick is in the DRS range of Kevin. 12 laps left to go in the Grand Prix. The battle is on between Kevin, Kick, Ruben, Misha and Robbie Jacobs. Robbie Jacobs rides the back of the RP driver. Let's see if he'll make a move before turn 1. Try to get himself in contention of winning this Grand Prix as Eric's on the soft compound tyres. Interesting there for him. I didn't realise he had many slots left to use in the Grand Prix. So Robbie does get ahead of who was it? Adam, I think. No, not Adam. Misha gets himself ahead of Adam. Misha, up into P6 he goes.
Moby Nick now leads this race, so let's throw out a red flag, shouldn't we? Yes, the Sauber out in front, still continuing on the intermediate 13 laps, of course. Sticks are way quicker, but he takes his moment of fame in the final race of the season. Might as well, wasn't really in the position to fight for the points anyway. But he is our race leader out on track on lap 24. He's got around 4 seconds to Kevin, but that gap is shrinking very, very quickly. As Robert, he's done a good job to get within DRS range because he was at 1.4, 1.3 on the main straight on the previous lap, and now he's got around 0.7 of a second. And Misha right behind him, he is out more of his DRS range, and he's got Eric for company. And Eric, he is on the softs, so he will be the fastest driver probably out on track. And he was very quick in qualifying as well on the soft, so let's keep an eye out on the Aston Martin, although he has absolutely drained his battery. As Kick is going to get past Kevin in towards turn 1, and Kick is into the net race lead as Adam picks up a 10-second time penalty and retires from the pit lane retires from the race, unfortunately, on lap 25, making the retirement number 3, and all 3 of them from AMS. But the other AMS driver of Kick has got past Kevin. He's right behind Mommy Nick in a brief moment as Ruben picks up a 3-second time penalty. And that has ruined his chances of finishing on a podium or fighting for the race win, because he's got Robert right behind him 0.3 of a second. It's basically a 4-way fight, although they might get held up quite significantly here by Mominik, as Kick is going to go round the outside of the Kick Sauber, and Mominik is going to go out of the way. He's not going to block these drivers. Actually, he's going to go rejoin back ahead of Ruben there, but they are going to find their way past as well. So Kick now on track, in the lead of this race. 5/10 he's got ahead of Kevin with 11 laps to go in this race, and Kevin will now have the DRS, and is he going to try and find a way past immediately again as we ride on board with the McLaren. He is closing the gap, but choosing not to go for it right now as Eric gets past Misha, as Mominik unfortunately picks up a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Not the first one to do so in this race. That is Fireblaze fighting it out with Lucas, and he makes contact and he almost spins around the car. Lucas finds himself in a Williams sandwich, or a Ferrari sandwich I should say, but I think it's very close in the Constructors' Championship, because P1 and P9, well, the Ferraris are P8 and P10, both of them have found their way back inside the top 10, but Mike is 1.3 seconds behind Geite Kaas. And I think P7 is going to be the absolute limit for Ferrari if there is not another safety car in this race, because Misha, Eric and the top 4 are just a little bit too quick compared to everyone else out there. But Kick out in front with 10 laps to go. It's going to be a fight for the race between himself, Kevin, Ruben and Robert on track for the time being.
Yes, the top four then close together. Eric is just outside the DRS range. He is on the soft core power tyres. The gap is 1.9 seconds then, so he needs to try and utilise this softs to his advantage, try and get himself closer in contention, but he's 2.1 seconds away. Here we go, then here comes the three abreast in towards turn one, with Kevin taking the lead back away from Kick, as Ruben now puts himself into second place, as Kick has been relegated down to P3 then, so he's got a driver in front of him with a penalty. There is a fight for the constructors, so he wants to go for the race win. Here comes Ruben then on the McLaren driver as we go level pegging. There's a hassle. Robbie Jacobs on the inside. Can you believe that? Any contact? No, there isn't. Now Robbie Jacobs is through up into P3 because they're all trying to stay behind each other at the same time, blocking each other, and then other people are catching up. They're slowing each other down, which is allowing other people through to get closer as well. Eric's getting about 1.6 seconds there. He's 1.5 seconds behind as well. Mike is fighting with Lucas, shuffled into P10, so Lucas there in a Ferrari fire, like you said, and struggling to get past the two. As we see then the top four of Ruben, who leads this Grand Prix with a 3-second penalty, Kevin in second place, Robbie and Kick. And Eric is almost in DRS race. The gap was 2.2 not too long ago, now it's 1.2. That's the problem, because when nobody wants to go for the overtake, you all end up just continuing behind each other, just blocking each other, holding each other up, and therefore the competition behind you gets closer and closer as well. As we now head and make sure you can see all these guys there harvesting their ERS there, trying to save the battery later on in the Grand Prix, because the last few laps, that's when it gets spicy, but it's all about now trying to get yourself into position, ready for the last few laps of this race.
Kevin now having half a look, but he's not going to go for it just now. He's going to stay behind Ruben for now, with Robert right behind and Kick. And like you said, Eric is closing the gap. The gap through has grown to around 1.5 seconds again, but it's the middle sector where he's going to gain the most, because that's where these guys hold each other up, because they are all harvesting their battery, and so is Ruben out in front, while Eric can push a little bit more, and the gap's now down to 1.2 seconds again, and make that 1.1. He's trying to get his way inside the DRS range. He's pulling Misha along with him as well, so it might turn into a 6-way fight for the race win. The gap's now 1.1. He's using everything of his battery to get within that 1 second. The DRS detection point is just on the exit of this corner, and I think he has just missed out, and that is really not ideal, because he's used a lot of his battery trying to close that gap. So not on this lap just yet, but Kevin closing the gap once again, pulls alongside Ruben in towards turn one. We go to McLaren is going to try as we go 3 wide with Robert on the inside as well. Robert is going to spin half around, fighting it out with Kevin and Ruben, and Kevin does go around the outside to take the lead of this race, just ahead of the Red Bull. But wow, 3 wide in towards turn one. Are we going to go 3 wide again as Ruben and the McLaren of Kevin fight it out in towards turn 4? They're really holding each other up now, and that is going to allow Eric to get into the DRS race. There's still Will to Kevin on the inside, going to the run to turn 6, and Ruben still on the outside line. Oh, going off is Kick there, going side by side with Robbie Jacobs, and he rejoins just behind Misha and Eric, who both are now in DRS range as well. It's all kicking off here on lap 29. We've got 7 laps to go, and it's now become a 6 and almost a 7-way fight for the race without on track.
Now it is a 7-way fight, because Gas has caught up to this DRS train. A 7-way fight for first, and it's all because these guys are chipping on each other's toes here, because they're not going forwards, they're not putting the DRS game, they're holding each other up, therefore allowing the other competition to be brought in, allowing more players to be involved in this race as well. There is 6 laps left to go. ETA Ruben does have that penalty on his shoulders. Here comes Kevin once again, down the inside towards turn 1. Ooh, Ruben just swept around the outside there, but he's under pressure. Robbie Jacobs, he gets a much better exit turn 2, and he was almost alongside, but got blocked past there by Kevin. Now he has the DRS once again. They all do, as we head down towards turn 4. None of them making the move, but there's contact between those two. Almost there, but luckily the kid's unscathed. Robbie Jacobs is desperate to get past Kevin Sunberg. There is no 10-second penalty for him, but I dare say the lap previously, Robbie Jacobs did not give any room towards Kick, it must be said. Kick was just forced off the road towards turn number 6, I think, in Ferradura. So, yeah, not enough space given there for Kick or Robbie Jacobs to be so frustrated, because that means he's promoted to P6. It means less points for Williams, and also means Ferrari still have that chance to win. And also, Haas are still involved in the championship battle, but only 1 car remains in the Grand Prix, which is Robbie Jacobs in P3. Adam has retired from this race, so he's only 1 driver out there in the Haas so far, trying to win this Grand Prix and take away as many points as he can, try and get themselves up the order in the championship. But here we go, as we now head on the main straight once again. These guys in DRS range, as we see now, Kevin on the outside, heading towards turn 1. but not going to make the move just yet. Jamie, when are we going to the hookers? Says Steban. Not quite sure. I don't know what you mean by that. But Eric now is almost alongside with Robbie Jacobs with the DRS wide open. Those soft compound tyres are still going well as he's trying to make a move on the Haas driver, heading down towards turn 4. Can Eric get past Robbie Jacobs? He can't. It's so close between the two. There's contact, but Eric is back up into P. Oh, there's contact! Who was that? Who was it? It's the LP driver, Misha, who was got spun around in towards turn 4, but Eric is back into P3. Remember what happened to him all those laps ago. Oh, there's more contact. There's a Haas on the inside. There's Robbie Jacobs. Elbows out between all these guys in the slow speed corners. Eric versus Robbie Jacobs. They're losing a lot of time. Neither driver is willing to yield. Now Eric's in the wall. He has hit the wall. And now his chance to win the Grand Prix. Robbie Jacobs has spun as well in the grass. So it's all kicking off. As we see another Aston Martin there as well, joining for sympathy, but it's Kevin versus Ruben, but Ruben does have a 10-second penalty. It's like in Spain, all these guys get a lot hot-headed as Ramon has left the session now, unfortunately, as Eric's got a 3-second penalty. Here comes Haas, who could be at the podium as the Haas is off, and Robbie Jacobs has crashed, and the safety car has been deployed, and I dare say, Robbie Jacobs, did you do that on purpose? I hope you didn't, but yep, the safety car is out once again, and it's not what we like to see. So the whole field is bunched up, and yeah, I think a lot of these Dutchies need to try and cool down a bit, try and chill a bit, because it's not good at all. These racing standards. We look like a bunch of amateurs when we're doing this. not to quote Gunther Steiners. I didn't even think about that.
It was getting way too feisty out there, especially between Eric and Robert, as Robert did not leave any room at all there for Eric, pushing him into the grass on the entry of turn 10, which frustrated the Aston Martin as well. And then Robert got a bit of karma himself as he spun around on the exit. Now both of them out of contention. Robert out of this race, which means that Haas is almost as well out of the fight in the Constructors' Championship. To be honest, they were already when Adam retired, because the maximum points they could have gotten was 26 when Robert was still in the championship, and they're 28 behind Ferrari. But now they definitely will not be able to fight for the Constructors' Championship. Both of them out, and with Robert and Eric dropping behind, that's good news for the Ferraris. They're now P6 and P7, and Fireblaze suddenly will find himself in the leading group. And he is going to continue on, and he's not the only one. Geitenkaas does as well, which means Fireblaze will be up into P2, and Mike is going to continue on, and is Mike going to act as some sort of shield against his teammate to try and hold up the cars behind who have pitted? Ruben, Kevin, Kik, Lucas, Misha, all going on to a fresh new set of soft compound tires to the end of the race. Tiny as well in the Sauber, but this is going to spice things up. 3 drivers have stayed out, and the rest of them all on a brand new set of softs with 3 laps to go.
Indeed, then. So both is a double Ferrari podium, but as you said, they have stayed out there. Like, is Mike going to be the Minister of Defence like Sergio Perez was against Lewis Hamilton back in Turkey and back in Abu Dhabi in the final race of the season? It doesn't have to be, of course, because, well, Fireblaze, if he wins this Grand Prix, gets the fast up the Grand Prix, which he won't do because those guys behind have new softs attached to their cars. So imagine this, if Fireblaze does get the fast up the Grand Prix, what a turnaround, but that's unlikely. Did Fire pole in Quali Indigo? Unfortunately, Fireblaze did not get a pole in qualifying. He was not out, in fact. I think he started down in 14th place. He did, so he started out in 14th, got not out of Q2, but he's up there. Maybe Fireblaze wants to end this season on a high by finishing in 2nd place on the championship. There was 1 point that separated Kik and Fireblaze last season, because it went Fireblaze's way until the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, where Kik just beat Fireblaze towards the end. Kik's last race win was at the Japanese Grand Prix last season. Can you believe it? All that time ago. You know, Finn Hertz wasn't really irregular. He was there time to time, so it wasn't full time to get those points for Ferrari. But yeah, Fireblaze not only missed out last season, but the championship deficit is much bigger this season for Fireblaze. He's done a mega job, it must be said. I know he's kept it clean, tried to be consistent. I know he's almost gave up from time to time. And this is not his first championship fight either, because he is in a championship fight in another league. And Ysbrand says, who's the fast lap gone to? We'll find out for you right now. It is gone to Lucas, so you don't have to worry there, Ysbrand, because Fireblaze won't get it on those mini compound tyres. But yeah, Fireblaze is the championship fight himself in another league, and the gap is 3 points. Only 3 points, so maybe that's on his mind towards the last race of the season next week. If you want to tune in, don't want to mention the league, of course, but I'll send you the link if you do. But yeah, Fireblaze He is a very nice driver, well, very nice person. He's a very good driver as well. And I know he can get frustrated from time to time. I think he's a bit too passive because, like this season, he hasn't really gone forward in the DRS train. He gets attacked from behind because he just sits there and waits to bide his time. But the guys behind him can acknowledge, like, he's not moving anywhere. So therefore, they pounce on him. Oh, contact between the Mercedes and the Red Bull as Red Bull went off the track there. But yeah, what's going on there? Kevin and Mike. Mike has dropped back. He's spun.
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness me. How could you boss us so hard, Mike? How on earth have you done that? My God. But yeah, Mike has dropped back then into 16th place, and Fireblaze does not have a rear gunner to even stay on the podium because I think he wants a podium, but I don't think he'll get it anymore because the guys behind him, but it's their softs. We're about to go racing once again, and like in Spain, it is Cas who is the leader of this Grand Prix, like it was the Spanish Grand Prix. Can he defend like he did in Spain against Robbie Jacobs? And I think at the time, Lawrence, but Lawrence and Robbie Jacobs are out of the equation because one of them's not here and the other ones retired from the Grand Prix. So we're about to go racing once again. There is 2 laps left of this season, 2 laps to go. Who is going to be the winner of the Brazilian Grand Prix? We're about to find out in a few laps' time as Cas will lead them away. This will get very intense because we know what happens when a safety car comes out when the last 3 laps of the Grand Prix because everybody's pride goes out the window, all the racing etiquette goes out the window. Oh, there's contact as Ruben is forced to war there. And here comes Kick. Kick gets a really good restart as we head down towards turn 1. Ruben on the inside there as here comes Kevin. Oh, almost off the track there. And he gets put into a acute angle towards turn 2. I thought Kick had a mega restart, but he gets slowed down because he did the flags. But he's right at the back of Kevin. Remember, this is the lead for the Grand Prix as we head down towards turn 4. Mike has retired from this race, and it's lap 35 out of 36. Cas is in a good spot to win this Grand Prix. Can he get his second win of the season despite not getting the win at all in the past few races? He has struggled a lot to get wins this season, but he's done a mega job, especially back in Spain. But the doors have opened up once again for Cas. He's got Fireblaze there as a rear gunner to help him. He's got Ruben with a 3-second time penalty. Here comes Ruben on the inside, in towards turn 10. There's been a contact too for good measure. Ruben's up into second place there, and Cas could be vulnerable towards Ruben in P2. It's all about Kevin and Kick in P4, P5. Exiting the final corner one last time. What happened to him?
On the exit, he runs onto the grass and he's lost the position towards Ruben and now potentially Fireblaze and Kevin as well. If we go to the final lap of the race, Ruben defends the inside line. Going on to the final lap, we're almost 3 by Kevin on the middle, and that's not going to go well. Contact between the two, and Fireblaze gets shuffled around as well. Down to P4, it's all kicking off on this final lap. Kevin has taken the lead of this race.
Unbelievable. Kevin just made his way through there on both of them, but here we go. DRS is enabled. It's going to get feisty. Here comes Ruben. Here comes Cas as we head down. All kick is off the road there in towards turn 4, but Kevin stays in the lead of the Grand Prix despite being under massive pressure. Fireblaze could still be on the podium here. He's still in P3. Can Fireblaze, despite struggling, start the whole race? Here comes the Alpine all the way around the outside. It's Misha as he takes away 4 places away from Cas, who had a massive slap. I'm not quite sure what happened to him in the final lap of the final corner last lap, but anyways, back towards Kevin. What a fantastic job for him as he just slipped through those 2 cars as Fireblaze has been pushed out the way as Misha is on the inside, but there's contact between those two there. Wheel banging between those two as we see Kick versus Cas there heading in towards Johnson. We go. Kevin is about to make his way towards the line. What a fantastic drive it's been for Kevin on the whole race. No made mistakes whatsoever. He's about to win for the 3rd time in a row. Not in a row, but here he is. Misha under pressure, in towards the line we go. And Kevin wins Brazilian Grand Prix ahead of Misha. Ysbrand is the SDN champion. What a fantastic season it's been for Ysbrand. Super consistent, fantastic races from him. And he's almost won every single race as well because this season for him has been absolutely phenomenal. Fantastic driving from Ysbrand, and he didn't even turn up either for the Brazilian Grand Prix knowing he could win the championship as well. Ysbrand is the champion of SDN, and that's the season concluded. Kevin wins the Brazilian Grand Prix. Misha from 7th to 2nd, and Fireblaze gets on the podium as Ferrari have won the championship ahead of Williams. Fantastic there from Ferrari. They've won the championship for the 2nd season in a row. Have Ferrari outclassing Williams once again. Kick finishes in P4. Cas P5. What could it have been for Cas if he didn't make the mistake? That's a very odd mistake there, especially for Cas.
Well, what an end to the season! What a way to conclude this final race And well done to Ysbrand winning the championship despite missing 4 races. And well done to Ferrari as well and Fireblaze for bringing home the Constructors' Championship, with Williams only managing to finish P4 and P8 with the fastest lap, and Fireblaze doing just enough from 14th on the grid, finishing on the podium. Very, very well done with the strategy as well to stay out in these dying moments of the race. Absolute crazy race, and in the end it's Kevin who wins from pole position, but it didn't get to him very easy. He had to fight for it and a lot throughout the entirety of this race, with dry and wet and then back to dry for the remainder of this race. What a way to end the season, and what an enjoyable season it has been. What a great championship fight we have witnessed, and that sure was one hell of a season here in SDN.
Indeed it was then. So thank you so much, guys, for having me and Milan as your commentators this season. I think we've done an absolute incredible job to give you all the action, the entertainment on the track as well and off the track. I think we've done a really good job, Milan, this season to commentate together for the first time. The first time ever commentated was here in SDN, both of us to have our partnership at the start of the Australian Grand Prix. From Australia all the way to Brazil, it has been a roller coaster. It has been enjoyable indeed, and I've had the pleasure to commentate with you. Thank you so much for being alongside me every single Friday, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I enjoy every single week in and week out to have you alongside me. You've been fantastic to listen to as well. Your insights, your knowledge, your information, your call-outs to the battles as well has been absolutely fantastic. And I will we'll be commentating, hopefully commentating with you next season, mate. Thank you so much. Thank you, Val.
Absolutely insane. Thank you very much. And I couldn't agree more. And same to you as well. It's been an absolute incredible journey from our very first race as commentators together to ending off in Brazil here. And we absolutely smashed it this season, in my opinion, and it was a lot of fun to do. And for sure, we'll be back for more action sooner rather than later. But we've got a new game to look forward to, so it's going to be taking a few weeks. But that's it for now then. But wow, it's been incredible, and I've really loved every second of it.
Yeah, me too, mate. Thank you, Val, for everything you've done this season. It's been an absolute pleasure as well. And thank you so much for Canada and Las Vegas when you're on your own. But you managed it really well. So, yeah, thank you once again, Milan. And hopefully, next season, me and Milan Langer will be back for Division 1 for Season 6 for SDN. And hopefully, next season, there's more of a fight with Ysbrand, because Ysbrand has done a fantastic job to dominate races when he needed to as well, and he didn't even turn up for the last race this season and still won a championship as well by a margin. So well done to Ysbrand this season. It's very weird to announce a champion even though they're not here, you know what I mean?
It's absolutely incredible. But, wow, not very much more to say, but
I know you need to go because it's almost 8 o'clock, so we'll round it off there then. That's it from us. Jamie and Milan have been commentating for you this season for SDN. We return on the F125 game. Not quite sure when SDN resumes, but when it does, I think me and Milan will definitely be there for next season. See you all later.
Absolutely.
Goodbye for now.
See you guys. It's been a pleasure.